Phil Jackson, born on September 17th, 1945. Phil was born in Deer Lodge, Montana, a small town, very small town. His mother was Mary and his dad was Charles, and they were both ministers in the church. And oftentimes, the father, Charles, would preach on Sunday morning, and the mother would preach on Sunday nights. So he grew up in a very religious, somewhat strict household. We'll get to that in a minute. He went to Wilson High School, which is in North Dakota, and he was a 3-star athlete there. He played 3 different sports. He played basketball, baseball, and football. He was great at all of them. He was a pitcher on the baseball team, quarterback on the football team, and center on the basketball team. And he had very long arms, lanky arms. He was tall. He was 6'9", and his best sport was basketball. And he ended up earning a basketball scholarship to the University of North Dakota, which is a Division II school at the time. And he earned a full ride, and he played there for 4 years until he got drafted in the 2nd round by the New York Knicks. As Phil grew up, he ended up having 5 children and 8 grandchildren. He was married 2 separate times. The first one lasted for 5 years, and the second one lasted for 16 years. And the second one ended up ending in 2001. Later on, his dating life, he ended up being engaged to Jeannie Buss, which is the owner of the Lakers' daughter. So they dated for a few years, and they ended up calling off the engagement due to the reasons they didn't announce. Phil was a free spirit. He liked to experience with marijuana and LSD. He talks openly about it. He was a advocate, and he liked to push the legalization of marijuana. He didn't think there was anything wrong with it, and he thought it was a coping method. So he used it pretty regularly, and he was pretty open about it. He didn't think there was an issue there. Although he grew up in a religious Christian home, his views were more some Christian, some Indian belief. He kind of made his own belief system, and that's what he lived by. So it was different than what his parents envisioned for him, but that's kind of just what he chose to live by. So his playing career in the NBA, he played for the Knicks, and he was kind of a role player, wasn't a huge part of the system until his few years into it, and then he became a bigger part, and eventually they ended up winning the championship in 1973. So that was his first NBA championship, and that's actually his only one he won as a player. He bounced around a few more times. He played for Los Angeles, the Lakers, and he also played for the Sonics. So, and then after a few seasons with them, he decided to retire. After Phil retired, he took a coaching job. He knew he wanted to coach. He took a coaching job in China, where he coached there for a few years and led a team to a championship in their professional league. He transferred to a Puerto Rico team after that, and he ended up coaching for a few years, and then his last year there, he won another championship. So he was kind of starting to get on people's radar a little bit, and that's when the Lakers gave him a call. No, I'm sorry, that's when the Bulls gave him a call and decided to bring him in and have him as an assistant coach. The head coach at the time was Doug Collins, and he coached under him for 2.5 years until finally they decided to go separate ways with Doug Collins, and they thought Phil was ready to take over the program and insert this new offense that he just knew would work. He coached for 3 years until they finally won a championship. And not only did they win a championship, they won back-to-back-to-back championships from 1991 to 93. And this was a very big deal. It hadn't been done in a long time. And he coached a player by the name of Michael Jordan, which most of you know who that is. Well, after Michael Jordan took a leave of absence for 1.5 years, the team went on a 2-year drought, and Phil did everything he can. He still had a successful year, but he didn't win the championship. Michael Jordan then returned in 95, and they won 96, 97, and 98. So they won 3 more additional championships once Michael Jordan came back. In 98, the owners of the Bulls decided to go separate ways with Phil Jackson, and he decided to take his coaching to Los Angeles, where he coached the Lakers. He coached the Lakers from 2000 in his first stint, from 2000 to 2005. He won back-to-back titles in 01 and 02. So he won 2 more titles there. And this was a big deal for him because many people thought he could only win with Michael Jordan, which is known to be the greatest basketball player to ever live. But he proved himself by winning 2 more additional championships with them. Phil then had some health issues. He was diagnosed with cancer. It wasn't a very serious form of it, and they didn't really go too public with it, but people knew around the league that he had cancer. So he took a leave of absence from the summer of 04 to the summer of 05, and then he came back and coached from 05 to 2011. And in that time period, he won 2 more championships in 08 and 2010. So no matter where he ended up, you know, he always got the most out of teams. And Phil was a mastermind of an offense, and he also was known for bringing teams together. And when he would bring teams together with his belief system, they practiced many Indian native culture exercises, and he believed this gave his team another level of commitment to one another and team community. And this was a big thing that set him apart from many other coaches. And it makes me believe Phil Jackson is the best coach to ever coach the game, because he always overcame the obstacles that was thrown his way. And I believe most people would agree, when you take a step back and look at Phil's career, that he's one of the greatest basketball minds to ever be involved in the NBA.